Hi everybody, I'm Todd Banner. Welcome to my channel. Well, we got some new stuff. The iPhone 15 and 15 Pros are out, and the Lumix G9, Panasonic Lumix G9 Mark II with phase difference, phase detect autofocus. Funny thing about this is that I watched the launch of the G9 Mark II, completely forgot about the iPhones until somebody mentioned it in a comment on my channel. I was like, oh yeah, it's the same day. Then I talk a little bit about these things. Start off briefly on the iPhone. You know, I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I upgraded from an iPhone 6 when the 12 Pro Max came out, and it was a huge step up. Looking at the iPhone 15 Pros, the regular Pro and the Pro Max, you know, I am definitely not going to spend the money on those. There's some niceties. You know, the Pro Max has a 120 millimeter telephoto lens. I'm not sure how necessary that is in a phone, especially considering the cameras that I have. You know, it's the USB-C thing. I actually think that's a great thing. Although in the regular 15s, you don't get any more speed than you do with a Lightning cable. It's USB 2 speed. But you do, on the Pro models, you do get much higher speeds. So that's going to be very useful to people who are doing a lot of video work with the iPhone as far as transferring it over to a computer, because previously that was really slow for long videos. So, you know, the 48 megapixel sensor, as was in the 14, and the ability to output 24 megapixel HEIFs. Some people are going to like that. I'm just like, you know, what's wrong with 12 out of a phone? If you need to upsize it, you have plenty of AI now, AI-based upsizing, like Topaz. So I wish that they would do, because HEIF files, you can do 10-bit. I mean, you can output 10-bit. You're not relegated to 8-bit files like they are with JPEG. And what I wish they would do is just have it so you can output like a 10 or maybe a 12-bit regular HEIF, so you can do some editing to it without having to shoot a huge RAW file. Yeah, so that's just me. Would I, if I were going to buy a 15, I would get the regular 15 Pro. I mean, I don't think I would spring for the Max, because when I have this Pro Max, the 12 Pro Max, it's a big phone. And when I bought this, it was because my carrier store did not have anything other than the Pro Max as far as iPhone 12s. So I'm glad I did, because back then the Pro Max had the larger sensor in the main camera, where even the regular Pro did not. So sort of glad I did that. That's no longer the case. If you get the regular 15 Pro, you still get a big sensor in the main camera. I would say, given my experience with updating a phone going from a 6 to this 12 Pro Max, that yeah, if you're back on an iPhone 10 or earlier, updating to the new phones might be the thing to do. If not, I don't know. It depends on how much you use it, and how much you use it for doing video, and how much you use it for photography. If you use it a lot, or if you use it in your business, sure, why not? But if not, you know, I believe in sustainability, and updating a phone every year, just to me, is, you know, kind of a waste. Just, you know, it pulls money out of your pocket. And if you're a small business person, you really got to watch the bottom line. Moving on to the Lumix G9, you know, adding phase difference autofocus, it's great. It's great. You know, I have not had real issues with the autofocus in my G9. Even for video, I've found that you can get it to work. It takes some doing, but you can get it to work. But having phase detect, phase difference is definitely going to be a step up. The better animal detect with animal eye detection, yeah, that's great. I have found that my G9 will detect something like a deer that's in some underbrush. As long as it's not real heavy. If it's got a few branches in front of it, it will detect an animal that size. Birds has an issue with. So from what I've seen, that feature is good. The complaints about the body size, you know, the reason these cameras have such good image stabilization is you got a whole lot of room to move that little sensor around in that big body. So I don't have a huge problem with them basing it on the S5s, and I don't have a problem with losing the top LCD display, which, you know, the original G9 has, but has been removed from the Mark II. But my second body is a G95, and so no top display, and actually has controls in similar places. There's at least I saw one complaint about moving the on-off switch from around the shutter over here to around the mode dial. Really, seriously, it's not a huge amount of difference. One thing I will miss, however, is that little lever down on the corner, the left-hand corner of the G9, which defaults to switching from mechanical to silent shutter. And I use that quite a bit, especially in photojournalism shoots in, say, village trustee meetings in some of the suburbs that I cover, because I want to switch that mechanical shutter off in a meeting like that, because having a click is going to be very disturbing to people. So I like that. I am sure because of the buttons that are on the G9 Mark II, there's the two buttons in the front, probably I will be able to map that function to one of the buttons. So not a huge issue. There's complaints about the body size, again, as I mentioned, but the big bodies make for a very ergonomic camera. Now, I understand the feeling that people have that, oh, Micro Four Thirds is about small bodies. Yeah, it is. Problem is, people don't buy those bodies. I mean, Panasonic would be producing those rangefinder style bodies if people were buying them, but they discontinued the GX9. So people are saying that, oh, you know, put this sensor with the face detector in a new GX9, a GX9 Mark II, or a GX10. I don't see that happening. I could be wrong, but I don't see it happening. I did a video about the disappearing rangefinder style body, because they really are disappearing. Fuji has discontinued theirs. The only manufacturer who's really kind of all in on this is Sony. So if you really need a rangefinder style body, there's the A6700, which just came out and has gotten really good reviews. Yeah, I know Sony's menus leave something to be desired compared to Panasonic bodies, but oh well, if you really, really want that style of body, it's there for you. It's unfortunate, but people like rangefinders are a little teeny part of the camera market. And the camera manufacturers are in it to make money. And if they can't sell a product, they're not going to make a product. What else did I hear? Oh, there was somebody commented in one of the reviews, oh, it's got the same sensor that GH6 has. And that means the dynamic range at low ISOs is going to be awful. You know, it'd be a good idea to actually read and view the reviews first before people comment about stuff like that, because the sensor, although it's probably derivative from the GH6, it is not the same sensor. And it does not have issues with dynamic range at low ISOs. I mean, I watched the reviews. People tested it. It seems to be fine. The lack of a fan. Well, Panasonic talked to photographers, and they felt that weather sealing was more important than taking the fan out. Gave them the ability to put a bigger gyro sensor in so that you have this amazing 8-stop in-body image stabilization. So that's a good thing. Of course, without the fan, I've seen comments, oh, it's going to have the same recording limit that the first G9 has. No, it does not have a hard 30-minute recording limit. It will record as long as it doesn't overheat. People tested it. It went over an hour, like an hour and a half, until the battery died, and then it stopped. So if you're going to do video in July in Death Valley, you're probably going to want to use a camera with a fan in it, like an S5 Mark II or the GH6. Other than that, I don't think people are going to have a problem with this camera. This little G95 can record until the battery dies, and it gets a bit warm, but it doesn't shut down. So That's nice being able to record a video longer than 30 minutes because I occasionally do need that. I've occasionally been asked to video meetings, municipal type meetings that go on for more than half an hour, and I use this. Also, if you need to go with that long recording time, there's a battery grip available for the G9 Mark II that I think you're going to need because you're going to want to record and not have a dead battery interrupt your recording. And this is like anything else. When something new comes along, there's always going to be somebody who says, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I had this, I wish I hadn't done that. You know, it's all this stuff. And then when people get this thing into their hands and they go out and they shoot with it, they're going to find out it is probably, from what I can see, going to be an amazing camera. Am I going to run out and buy one or pre-order one? No. I am going to let the early adopters reach into their pockets and spend their hard-earned cash and wait until sometime next year when the price drops, as it will, by a few $100s, maybe several $100s. We'll see. Call me a vulture. Well, that's it for now. If this was interesting, entertaining, useful, hey, hit that like button. It's a big help to me. If you've got any comments, questions, insights, pop them down below. I try to respond to those as soon as possible. I'm Todd Banner, and I will see you next time.